What's up, guys? It's Steve from Jiggin Giants, and I want to talk about crappie fishing today. Unfortunately, I thought I was going to be talking crappie fishing to the camera, but we had a little bit of a snag with our camera gear. The camera that I was using died, and I ended up having to use my phone for my video shortage. So I still wanted to talk about crappie fishing, and I wanted to talk about a lot of the misconceptions behind crappie fishing. And the biggest one that I hear all the time from people, maybe you don't believe these things, maybe you had crappie dialed in, but what I hear a lot from other people is that you got to catch crappie in the morning or in the evening and they just don't bite in the afternoon. Well, this is about 12:30 in the afternoon on a bright sunny day with absolutely no cloud cover, and I am catching crappie, and I'm catching nice crappie. It's just simply not true. Crappie are an all-day fish. But before I get too much further, let me talk about the gear that I'm using here. I'm using a light medium cherry wood. It's an all single piece construction rod, very sensitive, really great for feeling those subtle bites off the black crappie. And I've got 10 pound braid with a 4 pound mono leader on it. And the reason I do that is a lot of times the jigs that I'm throwing are very, very light. And so that 10 pound braid, which has the same diameter as the 4 pound mono, has a lot more weight to it, and I can get my lures a lot further out. That's when I'm casting. Right here, I'm vertically jigging for these crappie. These are highly pressured crappie, and I'm vertically jigging, very subtle stuff, very little reeling, a lot of just bouncing my rod tip very subtly. And I'm throwing this on a 16th ounce jig head with a stinger tail shad. I've got several stinger tail shad in my repertoire. I like them in lime. I like them in pink and black. I like them in chartreuse. But this is what I'm throwing here, and it's been very effective for me throughout the years of crappie fishing. This is something that I got out of my mystery tackle box. If you don't know about mystery tackle box, I have an unboxing video coming up, but it's a very subtle presentation. To get a little bit deeper, I could use a larger jig head, but it's not the presentation that they want. They want a more subtle presentation. Normal bait fish don't just drop out of nowhere and then start bouncing around like they're wounded. Normal bait fish will slowly work their way to the bottom, and that's more the presentation we're looking for. But moving on to some of the more misconceptions that I hear about crappie fishing. This one, it drives me nuts because there's some merit to it. But people say you can't catch crappie when the lake's really busy, when there's a lot of jet skiers, when there's a lot of ski boats going around. And you can see in the video, this is a very choppy day for me. And it's because of ski boats and jet skiers. I had a lot of wake coming my way, sometimes up to 3-foot swells if a bass boat was taking off from a hole shot from a spot that they didn't like. I had a lot of wake going on today, and I was still catching crappie. It's just simply not true. It makes it more difficult, but it's not true. You can still catch fish on rough days like this on a busy lake. I saw at least 6 or 7 other fishing boats that were within shouting distance. Still had no issues. I didn't see them catch much, but I didn't have any issue at all. I just had an issue when the wake blew me off my spot and I had to get back to the school. But another misconception that I hear is that white crappie and black crappie are the same. They are not. White crappie, they do tend to dwell a little bit deeper in the lake, but they'll always be near structure, right? That's what they have in common. They'll always be near structure, whether it's a weed bed or it's submerged vegetation or if it's even logs or rocks. They always go for cover. But where the differences stop is black crappie have a much more upturned mouth and they have a much more subtle bite. You know, people are used to the big thump from white crappie. And black crappie just don't have that. When you're fishing for black crappie, you're going to find a lot of weight on your line, and you're going to want to give them a little bit more time to take that bait, because with their paper mouths and that subtle bite, you want them to really have a good hold out of it to get a good hook set. You notice with my hook sets here, I'm not yanking it up to the sky. I'm not doing a really harsh hook set here. I'm just doing a subtle pickup of the rod and keeping constant pressure on the tip so he doesn't get off. He doesn't shake himself off. Because, like I said, paper mouths, it's a very loose hook set. So the last thing I want to talk about when it comes to crappie fishing and some of the misconceptions is there is no bad day for fishing for crappie. Light rain, full sunlight, it doesn't make a difference. If you like crappie, go out and find them. Look for that structure. Look for a drop off. Look for something that they would feel safe in, because that's where you're going to find crappie. And if you're throwing something a little bit bigger that maybe the bluegill won't be going after, you know, I don't use live bait. I don't use live bait for crappie because I like to catch multiple fish off of one bait. And I've had a lot of good luck catching really big crappie on artificial lures. They've worked out great for me. I don't believe the stories when people tell me you got to use live bait for crappie, you got to fish for them deep, you got to do all this. I'm catching these guys in 15 feet of water, suspended 5 feet. I just don't believe it because that's not my experience. So I hope you guys liked the video. I'm going to wrap it up here by saying please check out Jiggin Giants on Facebook. Check us out on Instagram, and by all means hit that subscribe button, because we're going to have a lot more videos coming out. You get to see a lot more crappie like this guy. We're out here, we're doing our thing, and we're fishing. We'll be sending it on to you guys. Appreciate every last one of you. We'll see you next time.